Okay, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and infinite glory unto my Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us His truth. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. All right. In this sit down, we're going to go into the idea and concept of pruning. Okay. And that's an ancient custom, or, just a gardening custom you see, and it's what the Lord is doing among us in our life. But just going into, the practice behind it and how you can liken that unto the time that we're in now. You see, as the Lord likens us to seeds and Mark the fourth chapter, okay, that being our faith and how we're supposed to be grounded. But as we grow and as we're built up in this process and watered with the word, okay, and given the breath, which is oxygen, which both those things are necessary things for a tree to grow, which the people are known as trees. Okay. But both of those things are necessary for us to grow. So as we're going through that process, pruning must come. Okay. And that's essentially what we're going to go into. So without further ado, let me share my screen. We'll start by reading the definition to prune. And this is a verb, meaning that it takes place and it's actionable. See, this is something that the Lord constantly does. All right. He constantly is pruning us. It's a process, more to say. So it says um, late 14th century, to trim the feathers with the beak of a bird, of a person, to dress or groom oneself carefully. And that lines up with the Lord preparing us for this feast that we're about to enter into. Okay. And the Lord is preparing garments for us, right? And he talks about how, that man that's not properly dressed will be taken out of the celebration. You see, what you can liken that unto the day of judgment, not making it. All right. So we are to be correctly dressed and beautiful plants, by, through the things that we go through, right? Being cutting off certain things and situations. All right. But it says, cut back vines, prune. Okay. It says the main modern sense, and this is the meat, says lop superfluous twigs or branches from. Okay. Now let's get that word superfluous. Okay. It says an adjective that exceeds what is necessary or normal. Okay. So all the access, all the excess, not access as in being easily accessible, but excess, the extra. You see, that's what it's talk about. It says the main modern sense of lop superfluous twigs or branches from. Okay, to take those unnecessary twigs or branches from a plant, usually a tree. It says perhaps a separate borrowing of the French word. Okay, yes, it says cut in a rounded shape in front. Okay, so to cut. Okay, got hooks. Okay, right, and we know that the spirit of the Lord is here, dwelling right in the midst of, you know, the starting with the head apostles and elders, but chiefly among GMS, all right, and those camps that think likewise, but you know, uh, chiefly the elect, man. You know, the Lord is dealing with the elect. You see, but this is the right because we're going into the idea of pruning. right? So, and I said that, the spirit of the Lord is here already. It's just, you know, hidden per se to those that are privy to the mysteries. This is Matthew chapter 10, verse 34. It says, "Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword." Right. And, that's what Yahweh told the woman, that pretty much was like, hey, I want my sons to, be with you. We believe, and he was like, man, hey, that's not up to me, you know. And he asked her if they're able to drink of that cup, right? So when we enter into this knowledge, right, we know that, you know, this is gonna essentially all hell's gonna gonna come down in your life. You see, you're gonna be tested, you're gonna be tried, right? When the Lord calls you into his ministry, you see, just like the apostles, right? Just like the disciples, you see, those things are needed for you to transform. Okay. So just like a Sirach 2, which I'm not going to pull, brothers go into that verse. You should know it. Beautiful chapter, by the way. It's always coming out, you see. But I'll paraphrase. It says, "If thou comest to serve the Lord, prepare thy heart for temptation." You see, because the Lord is going to have to purge certain things out of you, right? So let's get some more information on the idea of pruning. Okay, this is just from Wikipedia. All right. It says pruning is a horticultural, arboricultural, and silvicultural practice involving the selective removal of certain parts of a plant, such as branches, buds, or roots. The practice entails the target removal of diseased, damaged, dead, non productive, structurally unsound, or otherwise unwanted plant material. You see, so I'm going to read that again. It says the practice entails the targeted removal of diseased, damaged, dead, non productive, structurally unsound, or otherwise unwanted plant material from the crop and landscaped plants. See, so yeah, the Lord is pretty much removing the unnecessary items from our growth, man. Things that are hindering growth to a certain degree, right? Whether it be, you know, uh certain habits that you have, whether it be, certain concepts that, or I'll say, um understanding that you have, right? A certain, that's why the scriptures talk about being newborn babes, is because when you come into the ministry, you have to actually change your outlook, you know, which sometimes, people are too far gone, but you have certain brothers who had the idea of, I just use this as an example that, hey, God is all good, that he does no harm. We know that there's a balance, right? Or the idea of that, like, we don't have to suffer to get to the kingdom, right? All those things, the Lord has to remove from you. It could be people as well. You see, all those things are necessary, which, we can liken that unto the pruning process of what the Lord does, right? And is preparing us essentially for the kingdom, you see. Right now, this is Isaiah chapter 52, verse 1. It says, "Awake, awake," right? I want to get this word awake actually. I war, I war. It says to rouse oneself, wake, to incite, you see, to be roused up, to stir up, right? And the scriptures talk about us being stirred up our pure mind in the way of remembrance. You see, with this message, we're moved, you see, we're moved by the Spirit to take on this path, take on this challenge, right? Same as the growth process happens, right? You your the seed is planted, right? Well, we've taken in that engrafted word and started this process of growth, right? And the Lord, watching our growth, is going to come a point in time where he starts to cut things out, right? After we've been stirred up and aroused and that springing up process has taken place. All right. You can read Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, about how, you know, we woke up from those dry bones, you see. But even someone that's been, asleep for some time or in a coma, maybe in a cast, right? When they arise and they get back up and they're to a certain level of health, that shedding process has to take place. See, think of the example I just gave. Like when you wake up, you have to, the crust in your eyes, right? Your body is stiff, right? So it needs to be, stirred up or moved around. You got to get the blood flowing, right? Or you have a cast, right? That muscle needs to be moved and, put in extension and retraction, right? And also you have the dead skin that needs to be taken off. So, I'm using all of those ideas as a way that you can understand what the Lord is doing with us. You see? Now going back to the verse, Isaiah chapter 52, verse 1, it says, "Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion." And see, this is strength. Scriptures talk about how, the wisdom that the Lord gives us at first is likened unto a yoke, but then our fetters become a defense, you know. It says, "O Zion, put on thy beautiful garments," right? And when we read, taking it back to that word to prune, right? It also means, right? Let's see. It says to dress or groom oneself carefully, right? Because even when you groom oneself, you have to get, the haircut. You got to get the you gotta put the the face creams on and the lotion, right? You cut the nails, right? All those things are, making yourself more appealing, right, to the husband, right? Now it says, "O Zion, put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the holy city. For henceforth there shall no more come into thee the uncircumcised and unclean," right? So yeah, the Lord is putting these beautiful garments on us. See, preparing us for the marriage, right? Even Paul spoke about that, how we're supposed to be, chaste virgins, espoused to one husband. You see, the Lord is preparing us to, you know, be, to look good, so that He's, that we're, what is that? Let me see if I can find that. So, uh, y'all bear with me. No, it's got likeness in it. See, thought it did. Yeah, here we go. Now it says, Psalms chapter 17, verse 15, it says, "As for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness," right? It says, "I shall be satisfied when I awake with thy likeness," because we know, hey, Yahweh Shai is perfect, right? Well, the Lord is going to make us perfect as well. See, and that process is starting now. The Lord, when he died, his sins will blot out our imperfections. You know, his sins was going to, all our transgressions, which we, deserve death for, you see, right? Those will be for the elect's sake. or for Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai's sacrifice, you know, and mercy, right? We would come back and be made perfect, man. And through that, the nation of Israel will be able to rise again. So we're going to be satisfied when we awake with his likeness, which is being perfect, being made perfect. And the Lord is starting that process now. This is just the beginning, right? Now, going back to the pruning, I'll just read a little bit more on this. I'm going to skip to the next paragraph. It says, in nature, meteorological conditions such as wind, ice, and snow, and saltiny can cause plants to self prune. This natural shedding is called uh, abrition. Okay. So, yeah, you have conditions of the earth that actually naturally shed or prune plants, man, such as the wind, right? Such as ice and snow, right? And that's what the Lord likens, to as, uh, the straight gate, man, right? And also the winds. You see, what is that? Revelation, the seventh chapter. Let's see. Yep. This is Revelation chapter 7, verse 1. It says, and after these things I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor the sea, nor any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. And he cried with a loud voice to the four angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai in their foreheads. Right? So we know that the unwanted, right? The the ones that are gonna die on this side, they're not gonna be wind, you see. But the Lord that those that he has mercy on will be able to withstand the wind, right? Those that time of trial, right? That time of judgment, we're gonna be among that foundation, you see. We're gonna be rooted per se, right? Matter of fact, I keep quoting it. That's a spirit. Let's go get Mark the fourth chapter. Yeah, this is Mark 4:4. It says, and it came to pass as he sowed, or I'm gonna read verse 3. It says, hearken, behold, there went out a sower to sow, and it came to pass as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and the fowls of the air came and devoured it up. Right. So, birds came and pretty much took the seed, right? And some fell on stony ground where it had not much earth, and immediately it sprang up because it had no depth of the earth. But when the sun was up, it was scorched and because it had no root, it withered away. So that rooting process or that pruning process had taken place. So those that were weak, all right, they got cut all the way off, all right, and they couldn't make it. But the Lord is instructing us on how to grow, man, how to be rooted in this thing. You see, it says, verse 6, it's but when the sun was up, it scorched, and because it had no root, it withered away. And some fell among the thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no fruit. And other fell on the good ground and did yield fruit that sprang up and increased and brought forth some 30 and some 60 and some 100. Right. So, yeah, we're supposed to be founded on that good ground, you see, and bring forth fruit. Right. But what does it say about bearing fruit? Right. This is John chapter 15, verse 1, because we're also supposed to walk and be cautious of the fruit that we do bear. You see, it's not about just being rooted. You see, it's about taking heed and taking account of the fruit that we do bear, making sure that our works are good and not actually and strife, doing this labor bitterly, man. You see, we're supposed to watch how we work and watch the fruit that we produce. You see, um, scriptures talk about that, how some teach Yahweh Shai and strife, you know. No, we're supposed to be rooted in that. We're supposed to understand the mission, man. You see, this is John chapter 15, verse 1. It says, I am the true vine, and my father is the husbandman. Verse 2, it says, every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. And every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. So let's get into this word purge, right? And this should, piece the lesson together in a way. All right. It says that word purgeth, right, is kath e ero. Okay. It says to cleanse, to a filth, pure and purify. I'm going to read this again. It says to cleanse of filth, uh, impurity, right? To prune trees and vines from useless shoots, right? That superfluity, as it talked about, taking away the extra, right? The unnecessary, the dross, right? The Lord will cleanse us, you see. Then it goes to quote John 15:2, which we just read. And also Hebrews 10, Jeremiah 13:27. They don't really go into the theme of the lesson, but that's okay. Right, we'll read this again. It says, every branch, John 15:2, it says, every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. And every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. And ultimately, that pruning process is, is profitable for the plant in itself, right? Right. It says, this is going back to the article, or being the well, yeah, I guess it's an article from Wikipedia on pruning, right? It says the practice entails the targeted removal of diseased, damaged, dead, non-productive, structurally unsound, or otherwise unwanted plant material from crop and landscape plants. So these are strategical removals, you see, that are taking place, right? When the Lord prunes, when he prunes your life, or when he prunes the, things from out of your life. You see, those are strategy, right? Just like how in a chess play, or a good chess player, right? They give a sacrifice, whether it be maybe a pawn to spare the king or the queen or the rook or the bishop. You see, certain things are taken away so that the greater can live, right? And the Lord is doing that with us, right? Our good qualities are being brought forth while he's trimming the bad ones, right? Which ultimately is going to purify us. Okay. Now, this is Philippians chapter 1, verse 10. I'm going to start at verse 9. It says, I pray that your love will overflow more and more, right? That's bringing forth good fruit, and that you will keep on growing in knowledge and understanding, right? So that growth process has to happen, right? Because as we grow, you know, ultimately, what I was looking into this while preparing this lesson, um, which I'm not going to try to find it now, but the pruning process pretty much was going into how, damn, it just slipped my mind. Yeah, it slipped my mind. Hey, Lord will it come back, but if not, hey, so be it. I'm gonna read verse 9 again. It says, I pray that your love will overflow more and more, and that you will keep on growing in knowledge and understanding. Right. So it says, for I want you to understand what really matters, so that you may live pure and blameless lives until the day of Hamashiach's return. Right. So that's that good fruit, that good growth, right? Good fruit. You see, that good fruit being produced. But it's going to take that pruning to be able to, grow. Right. We can't have diseased, branches and diseased specks. Oh, hey, call Allah Yahweh Shah. What I was gonna say was pretty much the pruning process, right? What makes it uh what makes it profitable, or one of the elements behind it, I'll say, is that the husband, right, the one that's managing the plant itself, he's supposed to catch it early, you see, and nip it. That's I'm just putting the pieces together, right? Nipping it in the bud, you see. And that's what that means, man. Making sure that it doesn't have a chance to grow, because once it's a a good portion, if you have a tree, right, and it only has about three main branches, but one of those main branches is diseased and sick, and should have been pruned, right? You cut that off and that tree might die, because that has been a big part of that tree, right? So we may get certain things for a season, and the Lord instantly take it away. Well, hey, you could count that as part of the pruning process. Or we may have been starting to do something and instantly we get judged. You see, that's better in a way, because the Lord didn't let you habitually do that. Habitually take yourself down this spiral and downward path, right? The Lord chastened us as sons, right? And that shows us that He really loves us, man. You know, and He's a attentive husband. You see, it says, "For I want you to understand what really matters, so that you may live pure and blameless lives until the day of Mashiach's return. May you always be filled with the fruit of your salvation, the righteousness character produced in your life by Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. For this will bring much glory and much praise to Yahweh." Right. And ultimately, we're supposed to be pleasing in the Lord's eyes when He comes back, so that He can have mercy on us. But we can't neglect the aspect of Him pruning us. So, yeah, I believe I made the point. I want to give all praise, honor, and infinite glory unto my Heavenly Father, Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, taught us His truth. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom.